Hello everyone, this is Shokora Zouheikyoku aka Chocomint, and welcome back to our Let's Play of Meeting in the Flesh. In the last playthrough, we have finished the certain suitor, and both of us become merged into one entity and live happily ever after, sharing a body. But everyone seems very happy about it, so it'll be fine. And now we move on to our next suitors, which is Brattan, a certain werewolf, I think. I wonder if the cultural or life cycle of the suitors is going to be different or normal expectations for werewolves, or is it going to be something else? We'll see. Let's go. And now I move back to this part where usually we will accept their stay in and talk to Yesto, but this time we're going to decline, apologize, and get going, since we need to spare some time for Brattan. It's too bad, but I don't want to risk delaying anyone's delivery. Sorry, Yesto, but I've got a pretty busy route today. I can't talk right now, but would it be alright if I came back to talk to you later in the evening after I gone? Yesto's expression remains a perfect picture of calm. For a moment I think I see his eyelids lower, his gaze flickering off to the side, but any trace of discomfort dissipates in an instant. Maybe it was just a trick of the light. I think he's just disappointed, I guess. Or lost his nerves. No, it's alright. He smiles. He has a nice smile. It wasn't anything important, and you should rest up after your route. You do run an awful lot. Sorry again. You don't have anything to apologize for. I finished tying my bundle back together and straightened up, adjusting the way its weight sits on my back. I'll be heading out, okay? Stay safe. You too. Don't worry yourself too hard, alright? Yesto smiles. It's a very kind smile. I'll be careful. It is a very kind smile. A lot of teeth, but very kind. I wave as I open the door and slip out. I don't have the time to dawdle, so I immediately transition from a walk to a jog, then to a steady jot. But when I cast a glance back up at the overlooked spire, the eyeballs on it have already started to blink into action, whipping a few tears to moisturize themselves before casting about quickly, no doubt seeking out troublemakers to put a halt to, or people who might need help. I give the spire a wave of the arm right before I turn the corner, but I can't be sure if Yesto would have seen it. If I hurry with the next few deliveries, I should be able to stay ahead of schedule. Giving myself a few minutes of leeway is important in case I run into any trouble along the way, especially since things are ramming up to the eclipse. I've already had to take a detour because there was a rowdy celebration going on in one street. My feet skid across the ground as I turn a corner, my claws breaking deep furrows into the dirt as I straighten back up without dropping my face.
You're on the rock, right?
Yeah.
I remember you.
Haynes? He's never done this before. I glance up. The sky still peaks right past the canopy of gnarled branches and muddy leaves. I'm not terribly late, so I suppose I could spare a few minutes. But it would also mean I'll have to hurry with the rest of my route, which I don't like doing on principle. Still, when I look back to Brattan, his tail isn't wagging. I can't see it, so it must be standing straight at attention behind his back, which is rare. This might be something pretty important to him, so I can't answer lightly. What should I do? Well, I mean, this time we're going to spend more time with Brattan, so we're definitely going to make the quick trip with Brattan. I think it would be best if I give Brattan's big discovery a chance. Alright, let's go. I give Brattan the best smile I can. I'm not used to changing my routine like this, but maybe all that talk about the eclipse is getting to me. Brattan, unsurprisingly, looked ecstatic. His tail wagging so hard is whipping at the ramble branches on either side of him.
Awesome!
I'm not sure if I should use the sound of like
Awesome!
this
Awesome?
or awesome. Not sure which one would be better. The first one is easy to pronounce though, to make the sound consistent, and the other one is kind of just me shouting, straining my voice, so maybe the first one for now. It's a bit different from how I voiced him before, but I think it's also still works though. His voice practically edges into a howl. It's like he can't hide his excitement. His paw easily egos my hand when he snatches it up. The bass warm and a little squishy against my palm. Nice.
Here, this way. I'll hurry so you won't be late on your route.
The bass in the park can be pretty cramped at points, but let's not worry when Brattan's leading the way. His giant bow conveniently crashes to any branches hanging in the way, whipping them aside and clearing a comfortable path for me. A few leaves are getting stuck on his fur, but he doesn't even seem to notice. He's either humming or growling under his breath. Possibly both.
My breath's right about there.
Oh, Is there caterpillars? A giant caterpillar. Brattan's brought us to a side entrance to the park. The streets laid out before us. And of course, his ride waits just a few pieces away. Rope to a portion of the fence enclosure to discourage any would-be tips. It's a giant caterpillar. Wow, I knew you guys got rats, but I've never seen one before.
She's very nice, isn't she?
It raised its head when Brattan approaches, letting his eyes face into his paw. Its inner stir beneath the translucent stretch of its outer layer, squares of color bulging slowly. Brattan doesn't hesitate to swing a leg over the caterpillar's girth, straddling what must be its upper back and holding onto its harness, then bats the spot right behind him.
Here, take a seat. Don't worry, she's very tame and doesn't mind other riders.
I've never ridden one of these before. The caterpillar seems to glance at me when I approach, her body throbbing beneath the touch of my hand. Getting on is a little daunting, admittedly. Get on fearlessly or get on cautiously. I mean, he looks fine, so... Come on, confidence. Get on fearlessly. But this isn't a big deal. I mimic Brattan, easily slinging a leg over the caterpillar's back and resting my weight on her bulk. There's some give when I rest my weight down. Caterpillar's skin pliable and a little warm to touch. It feels a bit like sitting on a large warm sack of sand. The caterpillar seems to adjust immediately, looking ahead and wiggling her behind as if in anticipation.
That's the spirit.
Brattan clasped me on the back with a grin.
You ready?
Yep.
Hold on to me, we're going to go fast.
As soon as I lean forward and wrap my arms around Brattan's waist, he gives the caterpillar a hearty smack to the side.
Let's go!
The caterpillar promptly starts to crawl forward at an astounding rate. I've heard that these animals could move quickly, but she's much faster than I anticipated. I can feel the bolts of innards beneath me. The tall stretch of skin shifting and bulging rhythmically beneath my legs as the caterpillar stretches its front half forward, then bunching up as its back half follows. Its three pairs of front legs kick up dirt with each step, its back legs bobbing off the ground one by one. The ride isn't terribly smooth, lurching us forward in bursts as opposed to gliding forward, but it's still an interesting experience. The large lunge forward almost pulls me off balance and I hold on to Brattan a little tighter. His fur is warm beneath me, smelling faintly of soap and leaves. I can feel it through his back when he inhales deeply, then exhales in a long huff. It sounds pleased. What are you pleased about though? Having someone holding on to you tightly at your back? Or is it something else?
Don't worry, it's not that far off.
His fur rumbles over the whipping of the wind and I nod against his back. The caterpillar moves quickly and it's not long before we pass the batteries of the city and into the flesh fields outside. Flesh? Oh. Okay. That's interesting. The air here feels mustier, slightly damp and smelling of sweat. All around me there's a strange warmth emanating from the ground. The atmosphere feels somehow oppressive, like the feeling of someone breathing a little too close to your face, and I accidentally take in a deep breath but end up coughing.
Yeah, try not to breathe too deeply. It takes a little time to get used to.
Oh, and there's a different sprite. We can see the front of his face, so it's interesting. Brattan lands briefly before ducking down low. He seems to be directing the caterpillar, patting his eye to point it in a specific direction. It veers gently left, lurching past a clump of scraggly hair poking out of the ground and circling around a bit brimming with liquefied fat. Is it far? The caterpillar's weight is just enough to sink into the fleshy ground, sending gentle ripples across the surface of the fat pool. The oily sheen of its surface shimmers and glows in the afternoon light, simultaneously beautiful and cruise.
We're almost there.
The caterpillar slows down and Brattan bats at his head, whipping in between small craters of murky liquid and clumps of bristling hair. Small clusters of insects flee before the caterpillar's debauch, scattering to hide inside widened burrs or underneath the occasional chunk of bone that dots the landscape. Brattan has his head raised to sniff deeply at the air as if searching for something, ears perking up suddenly. Are you looking for something?
Yeah, and just making sure there's nobody else around. We're here though.
Brattan guides the caterpillar around a giant hunk of bone, nudging the caterpillar back on the right track when it's briefly distracted by a porous chunk of bone marrow, and dismounts to muscle his way through a just-high batch of thick, straggly hair. He's given me no indication of what I should do, but I guess I should follow after him? I think he said wait here, right? He's not saying waiting, so let's follow after him. Let's hurry before he vanishes out of sight. No sense in waiting, I'll catch up to him quickly. I hop up the caterpillar's back but end up stumbling 1-2 steps when the ground buckles slightly. The skin is warm beneath our feet, stretchy and a little jiggly from an under layer of fat, and I can feel my balance wobbling. Walking is a little difficult, like traversing shifting sand. Brattan really is incredible. It takes me a few more steps to get used to the terrain, but I've largely regained my balance by the time I reach that thick head of hair. It's tougher than it looks, parts of it clumped and matted together, and I need to use a little muscle to try and pry it apart.
Here, let me give you a hand.
Brattan's ball suddenly emerges from the other side of the curtain of hair, parting it aside to allow me through. He gives me a toothy grin.
No bother. That hair got me trouble too when I first found the spot.
Thanks, but I think I'll still leave any heavy lifting to you. Blood? Past that ticket of hair, I immediately realized what it is that Brattan wanted to show me. It's a giant hole. The flesh wheels are dotted with holes, of course, bursts that gently open and close as the land breathes, craters with visible pockets of flesh inside, or dip pits full of buzz and crease. This one feels different though. At first glance, the hole appears to hold a slice of the sky. It's only when the surrounding skin shows from as low as hell and the surface ripples that I realize it's a mirror-slick pool of fluids. Crouching down nearby, I squinted down the edges where specks of fluid wave had lapped up onto the ground. It's a deep, rich red. There's a metallic smell to it, but it's not the rich stench of blood. Okay, not blood. More the smell of something foreign, something that sends shivers down my spine. It's not fear though. I think it's anticipation.
It's gorgeous, isn't it?
Brattan speaks breathlessly. I can't quite empathize with the level of awe, but I'm not alone anyway. It certainly is strange and unique. I feel like I'm witnessing something very special. What exactly is it?
We're not sure.
His hand said lie is a good thing. The poor surface shudders when Brattan uses himself to his knees, the crowd beneath him shifting with what feels like a gentle sigh. I also rushed down beside him, watching my reflection distort and walk.
We found it while looking for a new soap pour, you see.
Brattan starts explaining, his thoughtful expression mitigated only slightly by the excited glint of sharp teeth. Though there's an undeniable gravity to the situation, he can't seem to contain his anticipation. 3 of them had been exploring together when they found a hole one night. It had been cloudy that night, with no moonlight for the pool to reflect, and the thickness of hair had prevented the lamps from shining off the pool's surface. Brattan had been a short distance away when he heard his co-worker take a few steps, then a sudden shout and a large splash. By the time he turned his lamp in the direction of the shout and rushed over, his friend had already sunk beneath the pool's glimmering surface. South Scouts are used to the hazards on the job, and they didn't panic despite the unusual circumstances. Brattan and his co-worker immediately lowered a rope into the pool to try and rescue the unfortunate companion. But no matter how much rope they lowered into the pool, it never seemed to reach the bottom. Even when they ran out of rope, they still haven't found the bottom. Their next step was to lower a lamp into the pool, hoping to illuminate the fluid from inside. Maybe that would make their co-worker's silhouette visible, but not only was the fluid in the hole completely opaque even with the lamp on its strongest glow. When they pulled the lamp back up out of the hole, it had changed. The lamp had become something they've never seen before. The outer casing had changed from flesh and bone to an unfamiliar sort of metal, slick and unnaturally shiny, reflected like mercury, and the light source inside had also changed. Gone was the sphere of contained lighting, and in its place was a strange glass tube containing only a pair of wires. Though the lamp still functioned the same as it had before, emanating the same powerful glow, everything about its appearance had become unfamiliar. So the lamp has turned into something like normal modern lamp? That's interesting. So a flashy lamp to a normal lamp, okay. There must have been an immediate compulsion to drop their other gear into the hole to see what emerged, especially given the innate curiosity it takes for one to become a career South Scout. So I have to commend Brattan and his co-worker for refraining. Their friend was still out there after all. There was no way to confirm if their friend was dead or alive, or even still out there. After some discussion, they captured one of the many poor rats scurrying around the flash fields and lowered it into the hole, but found that poor rats would inevitably chill their way free of the rope, leaving them nothing to reel back up. The hole seemed more mysterious with each passing moment. Finally, with no other solution at hand, Brattan's co-worker decided to take matters into their own hands. Tying the rope around their waists, they lowered themselves into the hole. I can't imagine what Brattan must have felt as the hole's shimmering surface closed up over the co-worker's descended head, but he kept a cool head regardless, waiting to agree upon 2 minutes before holding the rope back up and hoping that his 2 co-workers came up with it. Instead, what Brattan found at the end of the rope was a note. It was a hastily scrawled affair, scribbled in an unfamiliar hand on a scrap of gleaming white paper. Okay, so modern paper. It read, I don't think we can come back. It's a completely different word here. What do you mean, different word?
I'm not sure.
He seems to say it calmly, but I'm not Brattan enough to tell he is just about ready to burst with excitement, curiosity, nerves, his fur bristling to almost twice its usual volume, his pulpit to bear the entirety of his teeth and a sliver of black gums. His claws are digging into the ground hard enough to puncture the surface skin, run up bits of blood-flecked fat, and he only seems to realize it when the crowd beneath us twitches. He hurriedly withdraws his hands, instead pulling him up to fist the rest against his thighs.
A different word. I have no idea what he means, but does. I want to know what that means.
Brattan's eyes are fixed on our reflection on the pool surface, but I know it's not the reflection he's looking at. He's trying to see beyond the surface, deep into the hole's maw. I almost don't know what to say. That's interesting. So, we have confirmed that the things go through the pool that is not human, not living, is going to come back because it doesn't show on the rope, but it turns into something else. So like a flesh or bone lamb going through there will turn out to be a normal lamb. Let's say something else. Within 2 minutes, his coworkers have disappeared through the hole. Even with the rope, they couldn't return. So there should be something there that interested them enough for them to try to stay there, or any rules of the word or something else. But at least there are notes back, and the note is kind of strange too. So white paper, so modern paper. Going back here is we're going to see what will happen. So ask what happened next. Ask what he plans to do next. But I think it would be best to try to understand what Brattan's thinking, first and foremost. So what are you planning on doing now? Brattan waves his hand to look at me. Eyes bright, brighter than I've ever seen them.
I thought about that a lot, you know. What should I do next? What would be best? And at first I considered taking this to the boss, telling them that they had to rescue my co-workers and get a team to go in here to figure out what happened, but...
The silence drags on for a few moments. I gently prompted him. That?
I think I'm gonna try to handle this myself first.
Huh?
I'm gonna do something drastic. I want to figure this out, Phil. It's the biggest thing that some of us will ever see in our lifetimes.
I let my eyes fix on the horizon in the distance as I think things over for a second. It's not that I can't understand Brattan's excitement. After all, I'm finding myself pretty intrigued by this too. But at the same, it's hard to tell if he's doing the right thing. Are you not going to tell anyone about this hole then?
I'm not sure. This is pretty important, I guess. I'm sure there's a lot of work to be done researching this hole and figuring out exactly what's going on here. It's not like I'm planning on keeping it a secret forever or anything. It's just... we found this first, you know? Me and my friends. So I think I deserve to take a crack at figuring this out before everyone else does.
What about your co-workers? Shouldn't you get more help for them?
Not really.
Brattan shrugs, rolling his shoulders in a casual gesture.
So scouts go missing all the time. If anyone goes missing for more than half an hour, we just assume they're dead, or they'll come back on their own. With so much ground to cover, we can't waste days looking for people who are gone. It's just part of the job.
That's a pretty casual and cool outlook, but I guess it's reasonable, I guess. That makes sense, I suppose.
So for now, I want to take a stab at figuring out what's going on. But maybe I'll leave a note for my boss explaining everything when I go in there.
Huh? You're going in too?
Oh yeah, did I not say that up front? I'm planning on going into the hole on the eclipse.
Maybe I shouldn't have been so surprised by this. After all, it's very much like Brattan to wait. After all, it's very much like Brattan to want to dive headfirst into things. Literally in this case. And to a certain degree, I can empathize. But there are still plenty of questions I want to ask. Wait to see what Brattan says next. Ask if entering the hole is a good idea. Ask if there's anything you can do to help. Ask what other steps he might be able to take first. Ask if there's anything you can do to help. Most of all though, I want to do everything I can to help Brattan. Well, is there anything I can do to help you? Brattan looks at me like I've said exactly what he was hoping to hear, tail tumbling against the ground behind him.
Not anything right this moment, but it means a lot to me that you ask. Because you get it right, You get why I need to do this. I need to go in there.
I close my eyes, trying to imagine what lies beyond the mirror surface of that pool. Something deep and dark and mysterious, probably, and for someone who wants to throw themselves into the depths. It's because you're an explorer, isn't it? Not because you're a soft scout or anything else related to the job, but you're the type of person to do that job. You're the type to want to know the unknown, even if there are risks. Brattan nods, smile first, then again, more firmly. This is pretty reckless, but sure.
This feels important. More important than anything else I ever done. It would be a different story if things just disappear in there. I'm not too stubborn there, but the fact that that note came back specifically saying there's a different word in there, how am I supposed to leave it alone? And with the eclipse coming up?
He suddenly turns to look at me, and I inadvertently push into my personal space. I can feel his warm breath huffs down the white collar on my cloak.
This is my chance, Will. Even if nobody else will ever know about it, this is important to me. I'll know that I did something that almost nobody else in the world has ever done, and that my life will have been worth it for that incredible moment.
My chest aches deeply as I listen to this. There's a passion in Brattan's voice that I'm pretty sure I've never felt in my own life. The sort of passion that's almost impossible to contain. I can't help but admire it, honestly. Enough that the thought of losing Brattan to this mysterious boy almost feels tolerable. Part of my mind is still hazy with too many thoughts, but I feel I should probably say something regardless. Tell Brattan to be careful when he goes in. Tell Brattan he should take care of himself. Tell Brattan you believe in him, but you want him to be safe. Brattan knows his own priorities better than anyone else, but no matter what he does, I want him to be safe and happy. To be honest, I don't really understand. This isn't exactly my area of expertise. I find a smile crawling across my features despite the gravity of the moment. Even if I don't fully understand the circumstance, Brattan's enthusiasm and passion are still heartwarming, and I deeply, sincerely want him to be happy. But I think you'll be able to choose what's best for you. As long as you'll be safe and happy, I'm rooting for you. Brattan's eyes light up like fireflies, his ears standing up straight, and there's no real warning before he gets to his feet and picks me up in one seamless motion. Even with the wobbly layer of fat underfoot, he shows no sign of stumbling as he swirls me around in a circle.
You're so cute, warrior, for me.
He laughs, a loud and boisterous laugh. The momentum of his swirl carries me around for one more lazy loop before he puts me down and hugs me tight. His fur is warm and voluminous against my skin, a long breath huffing hot through my hair.
Don't worry, Will. I'll make the right choice. Thanks.
The sound of a bull rat scurrying across the ground catches our attention, and we look over just in time to see it race over a large chunk of teeth and dive into an open bore. The ground around us seems to give a deep sigh, sinking a little lower beneath our weights, and Brattan gives a hearty laugh.
Maybe there's a sign it's time for us to leave. I'm not used to staying in a place for so long here either. We're supposed to keep moving unless we actually fight the salt pool. Come on, Bill. I'll let you get back to your work.
He offers me a hand, which I take. His enormous paw practically engulfs my hand, rubbing me gently as he helps me to my feet.
Here, this way.
We don't talk much as we get back to his caterpillar. Brattan only gives it a few gentle bats to the side before urging it forward. The caterpillar wriggles a few times, feet popping off the sweaty ground beneath it, but picks up pace quickly. Hopping onto Brattan to keep from sliding off the caterpillar's back, I watch the flesh field slide by me. That hole swallowed up by the tufts of hair almost immediately, fading from view like it was never there in the first place. I know it's there though. It's not something I can easily forget about, not after what I've heard today. You need the soothing rhythm of the caterpillar's gait, the warm radiating of our Brattan's fur, and the exhaustion of the day. I end up dozing off where I'm leaning against Brattan's back, Maybe I'm lucky I didn't just fall off. Or maybe Brattan was careful about it. All I know is that one moment we're still traversing the flash fields, and the next moment, I'm blinking awake as the caterpillar slows to a crawl before the bar entrance.
Where? Or do you want me to drop you off somewhere else?
Brattan turns around gingerly. I peel myself away from his back, shaking my head and smoothing a hand through my hand. A hand through my hand? Or your hair? No, this is fine. Thanks a lot for the ride. I feel like I should thank him for showing me the flash fields too, but I'm not sure how to word it. Thanks for the show? Brattan must notice me hesitating because he leans in to hop into my hair, then licked my forehead.
Okay. It was my pleasure. I'm really glad I got to show you around. Especially since I know you're busy. Really appreciate you taking the time for me.
I can feel the way a smile tells at his lips. His teeth flare slightly against my round, so I nod. Maybe I don't need to say anything explicitly. He walks me to the edge of the park, back to where I can resume my ride, feeling the slick ground the foot transition to a firm rock bed. Oh yeah, here. At the last moment, I remembered to retrieve Brattan's salt from my bag and offer it to him.
Great, thanks. Good luck on the rest of your road.
Thanks, I'll see you later. I tighten the button over my shoulder to make sure it's firmly in place, then head off at a steady jog. Halfway through the block, I turn to glance over my shoulder and catch sight of Brattan's fluffy tail slipping back into the foliage of the park. My mind threatens to slide back into the hole in the flash fields, but I shake my head to drag my thoughts back to the present. But for now, I have to focus on my job. My next delivery is a good few blocks away, so I turn the corner and ram up into a steady gallop. And that should be a good pause for our playthrough today in Meeting in the Flesh. So this time we have declined those bonding time, kind of, and meet with Brattan. So Brattan have been showing us around at an interesting place in the flash field of a pool of blood or salt or something liquid that when going into it make the others go into a new world, and he's pretty interested about it. So the plan is that he's going to go there despite the risk, despite the fact that he might not be able to come back to this world, but he's an adventurer, so I wonder if he'll let us come with him, or even if Phil wants to go there. But it's something interesting actually. I have a hunch of what the other word is, but I'm not going to say anything before we see what will happen next. So thank you all for watching the playthrough of Meeting in the Flesh. I'll see you next time. Bye bye!